Cool. So, hello. I'm Kira, and I went to musical workshop for about 4 years. I was there for about 3.5 years participating, and then another half year volunteering. And I'm here interviewing Jerome and asking him about his experiences at musical workshop. Hello, Jerome. Hi.
Well, hi Kira, how you been?
Not bad, not bad.
Well, it's kind of nice to have the kind of reunion again. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of
hmm
nice to see familiar faces again,
I
which
know,
is
it's
nice.
so good. It's so good. It's been ages since I last saw you. And you're
Absolutely,
doing good
that's
things,
for
man.
sure.
I'm seeing you doing good things.
Thank you so much. So happy to be part of this.
Me too. I'm glad you're here. So the first question I have is, how did you first find out about musical workshop, and what made you want to go?
Okay, so I first found out about musical workshop. I'm so sure it was through school,
Mm,
via a friend who played music as well. And at the time, I really didn't know how to speak English that well, so I was
mhm.
still kind of learning, how to speak English, and kind of learning how to kind of navigate through the environment and learn who people were and kind of how everybody operates. Do you know what I mean? Because I, was kind of still new to the country and things like that. So through a friend, and then started going there, and obviously because I had a musical background as well from school, that helped me kind of explain the reason why I wanted to join, and also kind of like get better at my instrument, which was music, which was, sorry, voice. And at the time as well, I was learning xylophone, but I ended up taking guitar
Mhm.
in the musical workshop, which didn't turn out so well because I just think what's the voice. I think I still have the guitar with me, but yeah, I'm still learning that, just because I got a little nervous. I think I was gonna relying more on my voice
Mhm.
more than the instrument. But yeah, it was the instrument, and then things kind of went from there.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
really good. That's. Do you know? I didn't actually know that. Because when I first met you at workshop, louder than life, just this bold personality, and you just made me feel so comfortable. And I,
Oh,
I
thank
didn't know that you joined to build up your own confidence and to like practice English and stuff. That's really interesting. Um,
Yeah,
that's good to
I
hear.
just I didn't. It was really kind of like time where because it was a process. It was first understood what people. It was after the first stage was understanding the English
Mhm.
language, and then actually speaking it, because it's like
Yeah,
a stages. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That helped me quite a lot.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that noise. That's my cat using her
Yeah, it's
scratching
fine.
post.
Yeah, I can.
She really wants to be a part of this. She's
Oh, love it.
the second question I have is, what is something that you learned at musical workshop that you didn't learn in school?
Okay. So what I learned in musical workshop, I would have to say definitely, like I said, the control on kind of like my voice, because
Mm,
I had a lot of people who kind of had different style of singing,
yeah.
like
hmm
especially in there, you had different genre, you had different ways of like people expressing themselves. And I think from me seeing that kind of diverse ranges of artists kind of helped me understand what it was, and also find my own kind of style,
Yeah.
and actually on the same way it was kind of inspiring to learn from my other friends and colleagues who were part of the group as well, because I was kind of able to, in a way, you're learning. It's almost like, yes, you're learning at school, but then on your spare time, when you're not at school, you're doing even more learning, in a way where, whether it's building my confidence on stage, or, and, working with people who work in a studio. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't have a studio at home. So
Yeah,
for me
absolutely.
to see how people were kind of like, recording voices and
Yeah.
instrumental, like
hmm
seeing how it actually works in industry, it kind of was
hmm
eye-opening. I definitely was open to a world that I never saw from myself. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
And like I said, I didn't have any studio at home. So for me to be able to go somewhere like that and see people actually doing things from scratch was a good way of learning for me.
For sure. That's almost exactly what Tony said as well, actually. Goblin.
Mhm.
That's, she really cares about music and the creative arts. She's really involved.
Oh,
But that's actually almost exactly what Tony said. She was saying that in school, you know, you learn about music history and you learn about theory of music and maybe
mhm.
how to play an instrument. But music,
Yeah,
you're so right, like music workshop, you would have like a rock band in one room and then, you know, people,
yes,
you know, teaching guitar in the room next door. And then
yeah,
in the room next door, you've got like a kind of folk band going on. And because the rooms
yeah,
were soundproofed, it was just so
absolutely.
different. Yeah, for
So
sure. It
beautiful.
was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear what you've got for this question. It's what is your favourite memory from workshop that you'll never forget?
Oh wow. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick one,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, I would definitely have to say it was being in our workshop. It was almost. It felt like it was like a second family in a way.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we spend the time together,
Mm-hmm.
and that really meant a lot to me, just because, especially like I said, with a lot of people who comes from different countries or anybody who doesn't know how to speak English,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you are able to kind of be around people who accept you or, you know, are able to learn with you and, you know, kind of just make you feel like you're part of the group,
Mm.
it does really does help a lot on your confidence and the way you kind of like interact with people. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
like I met people like who were shy, people who were, you know, you met all kind of people, but once we were there together, everybody just kind of put it like the worries away and
Yeah.
were able to just kind of share their talent and share friendships. You know, we would even go out after workshop and, you know,
Yeah.
our favorite place was McDonald's. We'll stay
Yeah. Go
there and
to
just like,
McDonald's
you know,
after workshop. Yeah.
even though like, you know, the workshop was done, but it wasn't like it was more than just a workshop. It was
Uh-huh.
like to build
Absolutely.
friendships. Do you know what I mean? It's like friendship that you, I mean, I'm still in contact with a lot of like, you know, friends that I still see them like on my everyday in life, so
Mm-hmm.
which is good as well. But I would definitely say like the times that we spent together and when we performed, you know,
Yes.
after so many practices, we finally get a chance to actually perform on stage in front
Mm-hmm.
of everybody. I'll have to say it did give me almost like a purpose. You know, it made me feel
Yeah.
like,
For sure.
you know, I can actually do this. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It kind of made you give you a practice to what it feels like to actually be there in the real world if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to take music as a career.
Yeah.
That to me, I mean, I was excited. I mean, every time I would go on stage, I was super freaked out. Yes, anxiety, yes, because of going on stage, but all good, no bad. You know, it was
Uh-huh.
good ones. You
For
know what I
sure.
mean? So the fact that I got the chance to be on stage and perform, that definitely was one of my highlights,
Mm-hmm.
and the friendship I shared.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Oh
It's so
God, thinking
funny that
about it,
you
it's
say
like
that.
so
Like
emotional. Do you know what I mean? Us
emotion.
taking
Yeah, total
Polaroid
emotion.
pictures. I still have like the Polaroid picture of both of us, which is
From the Christmas gig.
I don't know where it is. I mean, I should have brought it out. It's probably on my
I know what
memory
you're
box
talking about.
somewhere. You
Uh-huh,
know,
the
but
Polar for
yeah.
Christmas week. I remember that. Speaking of that Christmas gig, actually, I remember. I think that was one of the first times that I performed, you know, solo singing by myself, and
Wow.
it took me a long time to work up to
Mm,
that because like I sang in school and I would sing, you know, in my music class, but the
yeah.
idea of you know, out with school, out with I have to do this for my grade. It was like I'm doing this because I have the confidence and I think that I'm good,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
totally different dynamic. And I remember
Yeah.
being so nervous and going up and doing it and doing well, and
Mm.
being in the car home with my family and being like, what do you guys think? Did you like it? And they were like, oh yeah, you were great. And then they were like, but who was that guy with all the energy? He was amazing.
Oh
And I
my
was like,
God.
that was JJ. I was like,
I
yeah,
can't
that's
cope. I
him.
can't. That's hilarious.
I
No.
remember them specifically being like, that guy was awesome. He got the whole crowd going. I was
Uh,
like,
oh,
yeah,
your family is great. I mean, you can even see the way they support you. Do you know what I mean? It's
for
like
sure.
you really have a really good family, and you did such a good job, and you worked really
Oh,
well
thank you.
on yourself and with other people as well. So you know, you really had a contagious kind of personality. A lot of people gravitated
Oh,
towards you because you treated everybody so kindly and with just so much
Thank
excitement. So
you.
that was really nice,
Thank you.
to have you there with the team, with everybody else.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that
It
was
was good.
really,
It was like there was people with so many different, backgrounds and experiences,
yeah,
with so many different talents, but we would
yeah,
still all get up together and share things, and you would learn from each other, and it really wasn't a judgmental
absolutely.
space. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure, it was great. So my next question is: you have moved on from being a participant in workshop to a career in the creative arts. What does that
Mhm.
shift look like for you? So like I see the stuff that you've been doing is amazing, by the way. I love like you're so like in your modeling career and like public speaking, like you're doing incredible. But how do you think, just being a young boy learning English at workshop to going on now to doing this in this career, like what's that looked like for you?
Uh, I would have to really say I don't even know. Like it's truly a blessing to be able to do the things that I have managed to do and meet the people I have met. And it's like when you're at school, there's a lot of fear of like what you're gonna do or how things are gonna be. It's like there's so many panic. Like what do I pick? What do I do? Do I stick on this? Do I stick on that? But one thing I realized is we are creators, as human being, each one of us are creators. So
Mm.
I don't think nobody should ever put us in a box and say this is what you should do
Yeah.
and this is what you shouldn't do. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I kind of it's still a learning process, but I've definitely realized that I could do anything that I put my heart and mind to. And whether that's fashion, modeling, be doing a public speaking or doing like speaking on politic views or whatever the case
Mm.
might be. And I just realized that we should start more focusing on just enjoying life. The moment you start like enjoying life and just accepting it organically, and it's okay to plan and say what you cannot say, I want to do this, it's fine, but also
Mhm.
embrace whatever comes those way, because sometimes things don't always work the way you want it to work, but embrace those organic situation that you find yourself in,
Mhm.
because that's what's fun about the journey of life. Don't put yourself so much stress if you didn't get to uni, or you did get to uni and then left uni, or didn't do. It's like those old things, like it's just putting too much stress on you. I think we should learn to just live more and then just enjoy the moment, especially this pandemic has taught us a lot about taking moment to enjoy the
Yeah.
present moment instead of focusing like, oh my God. I think something we need to take a pause and just realize and put her perspective to what matters. And what matters is you need to learn how to live your life and also enjoy the journey. So I'm definitely on that
Mhm.
journey of accepting everything that comes in my way and learn from it, and just be my authentic self.
I love that. I love that. That's great. That's really good. It's so good to see that you've started off with music and then moved into modeling and like done a wee bit of acting and just dabbled in
Yeah,
all of it. And at the same time, you're not like you don't do a bit of modeling and be like, that's me, I'm just a model. Like
yeah.
you're just fully involved in the creative space, and you're kind of you don't limit yourself, and I really like that. It's good.
And I think that's just like a true kind of representation, as in it shows you that if I can do it, anybody else can do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it doesn't mean because you do something else that you don't love it less. I still love every single thing that I've done, and
Yeah.
that will never leave. I still very much still doing music, still doing fashion, still doing more. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
anyone can do it too. Do you know what I
For
mean? Like,
sure.
you know, you have the right to do whatever you want, really. You
I
know.
love that. I love that. It's great, man. You're really inspiring.
Thank you,
Um,
Kira.
so next question is, what do you think is significant about Music Workshop being in an area of Glasgow that is renowned for being rough?
Yeah. So I think like with a lot of that, and I think a lot of people need to start changing the kind of perspective of. I get that people like to like kind of call Easter House and the other few places around the world like the designated area as the rough areas, as
Yeah.
the underprivileged like areas and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. But I think saying things like that does play a lot on the mentality of the people who do live there, because
Absolutely.
if you
Absolutely.
look at it as almost as in, is imagine a kid who gets bullied at school.
Mm,
If you keep bullying that kid, they would believe that they're worthless and they're not, capable of doing anything.
mm,
But if you're speaking love and light and encouragement to that kid, then that kid has a different perspective. And I think a lot of people need to change their narrative.
mm,
It's okay to fund places, because I think I still feel like funding a lot of like community areas are very important, and every area should have a community space for kids to go and
yeah.
explore their self. It shouldn't be based on whether they're underprivileged or no privilege. Kids are still kids, and people still need a space where they can meet people, interact, and feel part of a community. You know what I mean? Because it gets lonely being at home and not being able to connect with your neighbors or people outside. So I definitely feel like that people should change their narrative and speak life more into schools,
Mm,
community area, and encourage kids and tell kids that you can do anything you want regardless of where you live, because where you live doesn't define the person that you are. It really doesn't.
mhm,
Just because I live in Easter House doesn't mean anything. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yes, I live in an area maybe that isn't specifically uh, called, maybe placed as an area where a lot of people come out successful, but
Mm,
I, I don't like to think about that, because that's not the narrative of my life.
yeah.
It's just those are other people's idea. I've been placed here for a reason.
Mhm,
And it doesn't mean to say that I will be here forever or anything like that. You wherever you are in life, embrace it, and just and that doesn't mean to say that you have to stay in a certain place forever. You can do whatever you want,
mhm,
without feeling the pressure of society telling you you need to do this and that. But I just really feel that people should change the narrative and be more encouraging to kids and a lot of places in community, and in less of calling it the underprivileged area, because that does play on the kids' mind. It does psychologically play on
mhm,
the kids. I had friends who would say, "Oh, yeah, you live like in Israel. Nothing good comes up from Israel." I mean, it's a thing that the kids do take
for
on
sure.
and
Mhm,
apply, in their everyday life. So I really think we should change that and speak more life
mhm.
into of
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I
yeah.
think you'll agree with me in saying that the people that I've met at workshop have been some of the most talented people that I have ever met in my life. And,
Absolutely.
a lot of them came into workshop with the idea of being like, oh, well, this is better than me, hanging out on the
Mhm.
street. So I'll just come to workshop for a few hours. And then they grew in confidence and started doing music and then realized, oh, I'm actually really talented.
Yeah.
But a lot of the kids that started off were kind of just like, oh, I'll come because my pal's here, but I'm not really good at music. I'm not that talented.
Mm,
And without it, they wouldn't have had that opportunity.
yeah.
But they were really, really talented people, and they still are really talented people. So I think
Yeah.
it's important, like you said, that opportunities like that are readily available.
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Um, Next question I have is, how do you think Music Workshop has shaped you into the person that you are today?
I, I would definitely say, obviously being in a musical workshop has been a big part of my life as well, growing up, especially in school,
Mhm,
and my high school years, because, it was kind of a place of refuge where I was able to kind of express myself
mhm,
and, grow as a person musically, and not just musically, just in general. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it's named musical workshop, but it's more than that. You're
for
dealing
sure.
with people there. You're dealing with human beings.
Mhm,
Human beings that come from all different walks of life. Human beings with emotions and drive you know, to life. You know what I mean? It's like
mhm,
when you're in a place like that, it's kind of foolish to say that it doesn't have any impact on you as a person. It does have a big impact of your growth and who you are as a person. It definitely taught me to know how to work in group of people in teams, and
mhm,
you know it helped me with, like I said, the more I were on stage, the more I was getting familiar with, you know, my getting my anxiety kind of out of the way. But obviously, going on stage, that kind of excitement and fear never goes away. But it's not about that. It's about seeing yourself we dream about being in certain things, but
Yeah.
when you actually are doing the thing, it's different than just dreaming about it. So I
Yeah,
definitely
100%.
think,
It's
like,
so different. Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? It really is different. So it's been kind of nice for me to be able to do that and kind of have my dream come to reality.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice in that way.
Good. Good. That's good to hear. And then the very last question that I have for you
Yeah.
is, why do you think that it's important to keep funding the creative arts in Scotland?
I mean, if you personally had to ask me this, I would say funding the creative arts isn't something that should be, even you shouldn't think once or twice. It
Yeah.
should be a
Yeah.
necessity. It shouldn't be something you have to seek fund for.
Yeah,
It
for
should be
sure.
something that should be mandatory for the
Yeah.
growth of our young people and
Mhm.
kids or adults around the world. And that thing is like, it's it's more than just it's you're being part of somebody's future. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Those people that you are investing your money for or helping get to a place that they would want to be are the future of tomorrow. If they're in a place where they learn how to love, how to accept diversity, how to see people come from different walks of life, they're
Mhm.
able to kind of be, when people, say, how can I help, especially with the movement that's going on right now, how can I, what's my part in helping the community?
Yeah.
This is the part in helping the community,
Mhm. Mhm.
helping kids unite together, helping kids be, free to express themselves, because that's very important.
Yeah,
You
for
could be
sure.
saving a lot of kids. You don't know, a lot of kids could be coming from like abusive families, but the
Mhm.
fact that they're able to be there on a safe environment and share experience with other kids,
Mhm.
that's important. It's
Yeah.
like, I couldn't see why would somebody ever think twice about
Yeah.
funding a place like this. I
Yeah,
mean, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
for
It
sure.
should be something that all of us should put it into consideration. Do you know what I mean? Not even think twice about
Absolutely.
it. So this,
Absolutely.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, I totally agree with you, Jerome. I think it's so important. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today.
Oh,
Thank you so much for doing this.
thank you.
Um, so in the comments, Caroline is going to tag your socials. So she's going to tag your Instagram, your Facebook, and your YouTube
Yeah,
channel, where
yeah,
you have been doing interviews with a bunch of different, creatives and professionals in Glasgow over quarantine, haven't you? That's been
yeah, yeah.
exciting.
Thank,
I've really enjoyed some of them actually. They've been really good. Like
thank you so
keep me
much.
going
It
through
was
this
an
lockdown.
idea. No, honestly, like, it's like, especially it's hard to kind of keep yourself motivated
Mm,
during quarantine. There's a lot of going on. There's a lot of people going through a lot of things, but I once just thought of an idea. I actually got inspired by seeing another model like me, interviewing other fellow models, and I just
mm,
kind of thought, oh my gosh, why don't I do that with creatives and
yeah.
anybody that I feel could inspire the masses,
Mm,
and I just, like I said, it's important to have representation, or it's because you never know who you're inspiring out there. I got inspired to do this, and now I'm hoping that it would inspire other people as well to, speak to other creative and get to know other creatives, support small businesses, or support anybody that, is trying to make something out of themselves. I
yeah.
just wanted to use my platform instead of just, like I said, I I'm the kind of person I like to do action than to just speak. If I'm,
Absolutely.
I know, like, I don't want to just keep telling my creative friends that I love your work, without actually showing my. They say give the flowers when they're still alive, right? This
Yeah.
is a way
Yeah.
for me to celebrate the people that I find that really are helping the community and,
Mm,
inspiring the masses, and, kind of putting their work to the spotlight and telling other people to join in into their journey of, creativeness, or whatever the case
mm,
might be. So for me, it's a way to kind of give respect to the artist that inspires me, and anybody that, that I've had the chance to meet in my life to inspire. So this is kind of a thank you and respect to them. So really, really happy to. It's kind of inspiring me as well myself, something when I
Yeah, for
want to
sure.
buy. You know what I mean? So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you, Jerome. Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
Bye.
Hopefully we'll see each other after this, okay?
For sure, we'll meet up for another coffee soon.
Yes.